1340 KVGC. It is time to chat with our friend Douglas Viviani from Everything Old is New Again every Saturday night here on 1340 KVGC. Good morning, my friend. How was your week?
Good morning, Jim. My week was great. I was, maybe more particularly my weekend, I went to the Belmont Stakes and I saw the Triple Crown winner, American Pharaoh, up close and personal. It was a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
There was a huge crowd, of course. I don't know if you saw it on TV. New York comes out for a winner, and it was 90,000 people strong. There were food trucks, drinks, and handicapping, and picnicking out in the back. And believe it or not, it wasn't a hard bet. I picked the winner on that race, and I didn't realize a lot of people did this as well. They picked the winner for $2 or picked the horse, hoping it wins for $2. And then you keep the winning ticket. You don't cash it in as a souvenir. And in fact, there's 90,000 people that are holding winning tickets to that race that have not cashed in. So it's a windfall for for Belmont itself. And I've seen, like, the Secretariat. There's a winning ticket out there on eBay, and they go for about $300 at this point. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's for a horse aficionado. That was the biggest race there is.
What were your winnings from this?
Well, I bet $2. I would have won $1.50. So my souvenir is
Put it on eBay.
$3.50. I'm a big time bettor.
Put it on. Well, I'll tell you about my time at the horse race. I've never been to like Golden Gate Fields or any big horse track. Horse racing in California used to be big. Used to be very, very big. And now it's almost non-existent, believe it or not. We used to get a lot of our funding, the fairs, the California fairs, used to get a lot of their funding from pari-mutuel betting and horse racing. And that's almost dried up. And I don't know if you followed it or not on the East Coast, but California fair system is almost collapsing under debt because the state doesn't fund it anymore. And our fair here in Amador County, which is big time, and the Calaveras County Fair, with the frog jump, the same thing, now have to become self-funded. But it's because of the lack of revenue. But anyway, not because of guys like me. So I go to Cal Expo, which is the state fair here in Sacramento, and they have horse racing there. So I'm probably 20-something, early 20s, and I know that I'm just going to make a killing. So I take this girlfriend with me, and I'm just going to make a killing. I have $20 with me. I lost that $20, boom, in about 2 minutes. It was gone.
You looked great to her, right?
I looked great for that much. And then it was gone. And you know what, Doug? I've never been back to a horse race, to a trotting race, to any type of equestrian event since then. It and I'm 59 years old. So from the time I was 20-something to now, horse racing. But in Ione, which is just a few miles down the road from Jackson here, the Howard properties had ownership in the horse Seabiscuit.
Oh, okay.
Now, Seabiscuit actually was raised in the northern part of the state, but the family here had some ownership, and they built a horse race track out in Howard Park. In fact, it's still there. It's called a spring bottom track. It was built with tree branches. They put tree branches down and then covered it up with dirt. Wow. And it makes it real springy. And apparently, horse tracks, I've never been on one. Maybe you have. They're not just dirt. They're springy. They have kind of a movement to them, but anyway, I'm not. Well,
for someone that doesn't follow or care much for the horses, you do sure know a lot. I'll tell you that.
Well, you asked me what I was doing last weekend. Last weekend was the Italian picnic weekend here in Amador County, so I was calling bingo numbers at the Italian picnic grounds on Saturday and announcing the parade on Sunday. So that was my big Triple Crown weekend.
You missed it. You mentioned Secretariat, and I did. You mentioned Seabiscuit. There's a bunch of great horses and history to the track. We've done a couple of shows on Everything Old is New Again. What we do is pick a topic of pop culture every weekend, and we examine it and where did it come from and why do we enjoy it to this day. And we actually had the Everything Old is New Again race of the decade, where we had a fictional race of all the big winner horses, and you can. We went to the track, and we taught everybody a little bit about the track and had some fun with handicapping and learning all about it. I think it's the most exciting 2 minutes in sports by far. That crowd was insane. The problem is, what do you do for the remaining 6 hours that you're at the track? Of course, there are other races, but there's 20-25 minutes in between races, so you really need to go with the crowd, have some fun, bring an appetite with you, maybe bring the kids because it's a picnic type of environment. But it's a lot of fun if you dive into it.
Pace yourself. That's what it is. Pace yourself.
Exactly.
So do you get there?
By the way, Jurassic World, talking about wild animals, if you will. How's that for a segue?
Yeah.
We've got Jurassic World opening this weekend, and I don't know, Jim, we spoke last week about the Dome in Sacramento, which they're tearing down. This would be a perfect movie for that. I wonder if Jurassic Park, when it came out 22 years ago, if you had an opportunity to see it, and if so, did you see that at Dome or a big type of theater like that?
I didn't see it in Sacramento. I actually saw it here in Jackson with my 20-year-old son, who is now 20, who was 8 at the time. When it came out in 1993, right?
I do know it was 22 years ago. I haven't done the math.
22 years ago? Well,
yes.
Then it was JD. That was my 30-year-old son that I saw it with. But he was young. He was like 8 or 10, somewhere in there. And I'll tell you what, it was like we sat and stared at that. It was amazing for its time.
It really was. And that brings a great question to mind. First of all, does he still remember that event that you guys went to see that movie?
I will ask him when he gets to work this morning.
Okay, I bet you he does. We were talking about this last week about, the theaters and the big screen adventure movies and the experience of the surround sound and all that, and how terrific it is. I think this is exactly that, where it's a spectacle, and Spielberg made that movie specifically for all type of people to see it. If you notice, it's like a Hitchcockian in a way. There's no blood at all in that movie, and you would think dinosaurs eating humans, you'd see a lot of blood, but I think he did that on purpose so that you don't have to be afraid to bring a child like you did to the movie. I have a 6-year-old, believe it or not, this little girl is dinosaur crazy. We've got dinosaur mania over here. And if she's good at school on a Friday, I take her to the dollar store, and a big-time spender, I pick up a nice little dinosaur figurine for her and her 3-year-old brother as a reward for their weekly studies. Long story short, my question is, do we think that this one, I'll have to see, is appropriate? She's begging me to go see it at 6. I don't know if it's appropriate or not. We'll find out.
I've seen from the previews, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as tame as the first one was. One of the best scenes in the first one, though, if you remember, excuse me on this, but I think it was a lawyer. He was sitting. He was hiding in the porta potty, and the dinosaur came out. Boom! Remember that part?
His suit. He goes to the Amazon or wherever this island was, and he's bringing his suit and suitcase with him. So I think he deserved it. He didn't even know how to dress.
Yeah, the dinosaur just boom, boom. But like you said, there was no blood at all. And we'll, in one of the previews, you see it looks like maybe one of the guards or someone's walking, then he gets a drip of blood on him, and he looks up, and then it cuts. So
exactly. So I'm going to have to take the look at the reviews today and talk to people, because she's dying to see it, and I'm going to be in some quandary, boy, if I can't take her. I'm going to have to distract her with another trip, maybe to Toys R Us instead of the dollar store. I may have to be more to change her mind. I mean, there's going to be, like you say, it'll be dinosaur mania all summer long. I've already seen they've got dinosaur claw toys and dinosaur heads that you put on and you look like so we're going to see this. They're going to play this out till December. Absolutely. An American, Everything Old is New Again is also going to play it out. We definitely have an upcoming show on dinosaurs and the dinosaur mania craze in about 4 weeks from now. I can tell you that. So we're going to have some fun with that.
Hey, so what's up for Saturday? What's the show this week?
This week we are rounding the corner on the best TV theme song of all time, the 6-part extravaganza. We call it this week. We talk about and come up with the best sitcom TV theme song. There's so many. It's a lot of fun, and we're going to just play a lot of clips and rack your brain. And also there are some new ones, Big Bang Theory and the Goldbergs. So we're going to talk about that, and we've got a criteria which we'll release or let you know about on the show itself. But that's really going to be a lot of fun.
You know, it's kind of fun. My son, I said, is 30. I think JD's 31 now. Anyway, long story short, he loves the Goldbergs because that's his. He's growing up in that. He's like Adam's age,
Yes.
so he sees that. Mine was the Wonder Years. I'm the exact same age as the boy as Adam Savage was in the Wonder Years growing up. So I can relate to that show. He relates to this show. He actually turned me on to the Goldbergs. I hadn't seen it, and you know what? He goes, "Dad, Murray Goldberg is just like you." He goes, "Just like you," And I go, "Okay, well, let me see that." And I started watching it, and you know what? There's a little bit of truth to that, Doug.
I love that show too, and to hear that means that I don't know if you take your pants off as soon as you get home, but you're sitting in that recliner and enjoying a beer every so often, like most of us do after a hard day's work. That's what that fella does.
Well, for some reason,
he has a lot of heart, though, and he has heart. I love the idea that at the end of that show, many times they'll do a topic, whatever the topic of the show is, and they'll show the actual characters. He did a lot of filming as like a 10-year-old or through his whole childhood, and you'll see him flash back and see the original inspiration, if you will, for that episode of him being a wrestler or whatever it might be that they did that particular day.
They did one on the Backstreet Boys.
Yes.
that was hilarious. But
I love the Wonder Years. I could tell when my kids grow up, I could say, we don't have a lot of home movies of everything that went on in my life. If you turn that show on, 90% of that happened to me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
that's
hey,
a
listen.
lot of fun. And that's what we talk about with Old is New Again. That's what's great about this show, because you could argue with your son, and we call it an argument that you love to have, about the Goldbergs versus whatever your favorite TV theme song might have been, and everybody is safe at the end of the day.
Well, we got to get out of here, but I'm going to put in my vote for the best TV theme song. Okay?
Yes.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Batman. The original Batman theme. Huh?
It's definitely in the running. We'll find out. Tune in. We'll have some fun together.
All right. Douglas Viviani and David Cohen. It's Everything Old is New Again. Saturday nights, 6 o'clock here on 1340 KVGC. Douglas, we'll meet again next Friday.
Absolutely. Have a great week.
All right. Thank you.